weapons to try to get that early hill advantage, because you cannot let Rise get rolling. You cannot let them get what they are favorable at, which is the lead in control, and allow them to kind of steamroll, boulder roll you, because again, they're the kings of control, baby. It is nutty buddy for them.
Kings of Control, and I agree with that, Colin. You can't dispute that Rise has always been leading the curve when it comes to control, even when we were doing beta testing in Emergence days, and they continue to carry that momentum and that weight moving forward. PK, this series is all on them, okay? In my opinion, Rise already has this. PK are the ones who have to still it away. Absolutely bottom line, period. But off the rip, though, Detox gets his hand on the M-bar. 3 members from PK go into the hill. 3 members end up exiting the hill, back to the respawn screen. That's a great start for Rise.
Summons tries to play all the way back here into the spawn to try to play up against Detox, and Detox still gets the kill on him with a little bit of help over the top. Now the other players are trying to roll in. Detox actually rolls straight into the cover. He has a chance for another finish here on the Raver if he so chooses, and it looks like everybody rotated away from him. They don't have a chance to play in this. Detox said, here you go, Vexies. I'll take a Lancer. I'll go right back into the fight. Don't worry, baby. I got this.
Detox is there, man. Hey, pass it over to Vexies. Vexies yesterday impressed me. With his shots, it was just so crispy and clean, man. Let Detox get a little bit loose. Get in that hill. Nash your people down. By the way, Raver is so lucky he's alive in this moment because that shot barely missed. Now, Vexies hits a great body shot, but it's not going to be enough. And I believe Raver makes a mistake to take down Dezo. You don't like to see silly mistakes in that moment. Summon's gone, and Vexies cleans him up. And at this point, PK might be on the new hill, but Rise is putting up one hell of a fight, and they're already there for the retake.
Right now, what you're going to see from the side of Rise is not only a dominant first hill, but a pretty great second hill already. They've gotten over here. They've got 2 players in the backside waiting for the repush from Pittsburgh. You see one player playing down at the close respawn. It's going to look like they're going to try to information gather a little bit. They get the call out on one player playing the open door. They're going to play up on that shock, and now Icy with the call out. He said, I'm going to get pushed out here in just a minute. I need somebody to play up with me, get that 90-degree angle. Someone's going to go to the backside of those covers. He's going to have to turn around. Monkeys now. First kill here in this next team fight on to Rushies. Now Avexi's answering back with a down, and Detox with the cleanup. Beautiful little teamwork here. Icy playing by himself on these backstairs. I mean, there's not much you can do in that situation. You got 2 players that's absolutely approaching you. You give up the close respawn over to the Pittsburgh Knights. You're going to have to play a little bit stout here. You're going to have to get great Lancer fire, trying to stop these players from coming back into the fight. A bunch of downs are out right now. Raver going in for the team revive, spamming that X button, trying to give everybody a little tap on his shoulder, get him back up, but right now, they're not even playing up into the hill. 18 seconds left on this, and it's 111 to 2. And it could get uglier if Rushies can get another kill or 2.
Colin, it's just a massacre. It is a massacre. I mean, I'm looking at, yeah, let's look at this, man. This is going to tell you the whole story. So Summons, look at that damage. Summons at 626. Like, and I hate to just point him out, for the entire team, they haven't even broke 3K. Like, this is genuinely a massacre.
I'm actually surprised at some of these numbers that we've gotten to see out of the Pittsburgh Knights early into this one. You can see the next hill has been taken over by the side of Rise. Icy playing the M-bar spot now, trying to find anybody rolling out. Rushy's going to go for a back A there. He plays the perfect shot, but doesn't have a chance to take that second cover to play out. But thankfully, he has a teammate there to help get the revive off. Pittsburgh now has to reassess their situation. 3 players alive and close in the area here. Monkeys down at the bottom of the stairwell. Summons will have a lot of snub shots out, bouncing up, now trying to go for this shot on. He's going to get tagged up just a little bit. Icy with a single body shot could settle him down. Going for the reload, and Icy's going to roll into the hill. He's going to try to bring himself into a situation where he has a chance to get shots out here. No marks out or helping him, but there's the first headshot on a Summons. Misses the body shot, but look at Dezo. Slides through the first line of defense, but gets chunked out by Icy. Neutralization in. 160 to 3.
I mean, Rise is just looking so crispy in every fight they get into. It's their movement's on point. Their spacing is great. PK isn't in any fight that I'm looking at, Colin. And I hate to be this extreme, but I'm just like, Rise got this. Like, and I see in that moment in that fight, I'm like, he's got this. Just the way they're moving, and that was the same thing when they played Noble yesterday. You know, it's just 2 different teams, but Rise's movements, the way that they engage, the way that they fight is just so crispy. It's refreshing to watch. It truthfully is. Dezo, though, Summons will also pick up 1. Monkeys will take down Icy, and Dezo will win that M-bar. So finally, some life being shown from PK.
Beautiful shot there by Rushies. And now you see he's going to push back up toward that middle hill in this middle set of stairwells. Raver's going to go on a little flank here. Embar shot out. Finally breaking double digits in points, not triple, double digits in points is the side of the Pittsburgh Knights. Beautiful little up fade there, gets one kill. That's a couple of kills in a row. This could be the first real good hill for the Pittsburgh Knights in this situation, as they are already starting to take over the middle of the map. They get a bunch of kills in a row, and Rise will have to go for a retake here. Let's see how good they are in the retake category against the stood up and stand out defense of the Pittsburgh Knights. Avexis with the shocks from the Rose Garden. And they know that at least one player, maybe even two, coming up to and through the middle of this hill.
Good shot from Monkeys on a Rushies. PK, like I said, getting some new life. This is what they needed. Rise will give them this hill. They've already rotated out. They're going to focus on next, which, fair enough. Dezo has one more shot to his name. Where he puts it, I don't know. 50 seconds to the fresh Embar is going to be coming up into play, so clearly some time to go ahead and rotate in. But good on PK to get just about every single point, but they can't afford to allow Rise to get two more successful hills, or else it's pretty much going to be over with. The Avexis, though, set up very nicely. We'll take down Raver. And let's not forget, remember yesterday against Noble One Regency? Avexis was running that hill by himself.
Right now, Detox playing to the backside of this hill, trying to play that right hand, waiting for somebody to slide into him. He's not going to get either of those kills. 66 points will go to the way of the Pittsburgh Knights. Avexis playing into the spawn now. They got to play careful here. Icy with one kill, going for a second up A. Won't be able to get the second one in this situation. Avexis still playing back there. Snub out. They're trading shots. Summon's just waiting for him to poke his head up. Not going to be able to get it. High Buster Dizzy, though, played by Monkeys, will rotate in, get that kill, and now they've got the hill. This is the second hill for the Pittsburgh Knights. They're fighting back into this right now. They are doing a fantastic job, 2 hills in a row, and it's going to take a little bit of a decent to strong effort from Rise. Detox with the Embar. Revving it up, doesn't let the shot ring out just yet. Raver trying to find a little cheeky angle on to Rushies at the bottom of those stairs. 2 players, now 3 mounted up here. The mark is true. The shock is out. It's going to keep the middle of the hill open, but Raver will have pretty much the whole hill to play with because of that shock placement.
Nice.
And the late nades.
Take them weak. Yeah, late nades is going to be. It's going to be really telling if PK might win this, and if they do, I mean, Rise had every opportunity to win this. They had the shock, they had the Embar, they had the frags, and they're still struggling to break the hill. They finally get it with just mere points left, but PK, 2 back-to-back very, very successful hills. PK might have some life left in him, brother, because at this point, Rise may be apex at the 200-point mark and be very close anyways, but with the way PK has woke up, I don't know what happened in the beginning. I don't know why it was so one-sided and an absolute massacre in favor of Rise, but PK, hey, again, showing new life. They might have a chance.
And they're doing a good job. I like this. The fact that PK didn't roll over and die when it was like 111 to 2 or 3 at one point, that tells me a lot about that team. It shows that they do want to come into this situation. They want to be able to take over hills, take over kills, and fight back into this. I love the Lancer fire right here. The way that Detox kept getting tagged up, even without the mark, they kind of had an idea where he was playing. Rushy's going to pick up a kill there. Dezo going for a double bounce, and the back A from Rushy's tried and true. Gets a hit with an Embar. Icy, though, trying to sneak up behind Summons, and they get the quick revive off on him. That trades out the spawn points. They get the close respawn. 1 player left to play against. It's going to be Monkeys. Double shot down on Icy. He's full red. Shot over the cover. Gets him down. They're going to leave him to bleed out. They need to focus on the front side of this hill as there's only 2 players from Rise alive. It's going to be Rushies along with the Avexis. They need to play this a little bit carefully. They get the cleanup there on the Monkeys. They don't want to give up the revive. Now it's a 3v4 as the respawns for Rise are in the area. Here comes Icy trading blows back and forth to the backside of the hill. 208 to 128. 35 seconds to go on this hill. Detox has the flank, the Lancer angle, the shot in the chunk. Beautiful job. 30 seconds to go on this hill. Could get them to 240 if they so wish it.
If PK would have started off with this energy, they would have kept it neck and neck as they're doing now. There's a very real chance that this could have been a much closer map than it is currently. But because they took such an early deficit, such a big deficit, PK, even though they're having success towards the later portion of this map, it still is a long mountain to climb. But I will say they're climbing it quite well. We go back to the original hill. Rise was very successful here. Avexis challenging mid, hits one with an absolute break, goes back in for the second, goes in for the third onto Monkeys, doubles back, and Avexis putting on a clinic in gears.
Avexy's bouncing around, just feeling himself right now, getting a great couple of shots on, a couple of kills as well, takes over control of the Rose Garden. Icy all by himself, top left corner of the map. There's 3 players there. They know it now. Rushies was waiting in the wings, but doesn't necessarily wait the whole time to maybe get that kill. They do see him, so he doesn't get the chance to rat out a kill right there. He was trying to catch one player slipping. That's 2 dead. I think I like that play. He's going to throw the shock out to one side. He's going to try to block him off, and now the nades are going to try to get damage on the Raver in the middle of the Rose Garden. They get the down. The hop comes over. Summons will get a chance for a revive, but doesn't get it off, and now Summons is in a 2v1. He gets tagged up and taken out. There is going to be enough time if they hold every single solitary second on this hill to win it 300 to 128 and go up 1-0 over the Pittsburgh Knights.
And Colin, we talk about that story, right? We kind of brought in that storyline about, we've seen this before where a team gets so close to victory only to be overcome and overwhelmed towards the tail end and lose. PK did that to Vanquish during the first week, giving VQ one of their only and rare losses. But at this point, though, that story shouldn't even matter because PK is at such a deficit. And Rise, like you said, if they hold every single point, they're going to get the victory. And they have just enough time to still get that victory. And Colin, I think they just locked it in. Scoreline's going to be 300 to 128. Rise starts off hot with the victory.
And Rise really rose to the occasion early. They go up 111 to 2 or 3 at one point. I like the fight out of the Pittsburgh Knights. They really did a good job coming back into that, trying to give it their best go. Rise, they realized because of the lead that they had, they could over-rotate early. They could get across the map. They could go for the power weapons. They had the ability to kind of play with some time across the map, and it forced the players from the Pittsburgh Knights into worse situations as they tried to get to the next hill spawn. They tried to get across the map. Rise does a fantastic job of that in all of their control maps, and it's no different in that one. They take a 1-0 lead, but now we go to checkout where Rise has had some hiccups and Pittsburgh Knights have yet to have one.
Yeah, PK 2-0 on that map. Meanwhile, Rise 1-2. So clearly, as you said, some hiccups, but who knows? The new Rise might be able to put up a much better fight, but really, how much of a good fight is it going to be? PK's going to their stomping grounds. This is a map that they love to play on checkout. Execution is one that they are, I think, more well-versed on. We did see some life from them towards the tail end, but again, that early deficit that Rise gave over to PK, it pretty much put them into coffin. You mentioned the over-rotations. That's exactly what we saw, specifically on the third hill. We've seen PK pretty much controlling that for the most part. Rise said, okay, fair enough, you have this hill. We'll rotate to next. We'll give it a good fight and force you to rotate into us instead of us trying to break your defensive setup. But PK did show some good life, like I said, but it just wasn't enough, and it wasn't consistent enough. That early loss was just a bit too much. Curious to see, though, if that slaying power carries over in the checkout, because honestly, I got to tip my hat to the damage coming out for Avexys, coming out from Icy, Rushies, and Detox. They outslayed PK 10-1, and that slay power is 100% going to translate the checkout, you have to assume.
Well, you hope so. I think the difference is, though, is that Pittsburgh Knights have a chance to reset every single round. And one of the things that we've seen them do and what they were very good at in those hills that they were winning, they were able to collapse very quickly on a single player from Rise. And that's kind of what you have to do on checkout. You got to find a single player to kind of mark out early. And you saw what happened when Fire and Ice could do that to Powers on checkout. They could solo him out. They got kills. They got the rounds. Even though it went to that round 11, they were able to get the leads that they needed early to force out a round 11 from United. It forced out their best possible hand. So if I'm the Pittsburgh Knights, I'm feeling good going into this one because of the fact that you have a chance to do the same thing. You figure out who the player is you have to solo out and get kills on early. It's probably going to be the likes of Detox or Rushies. You got to figure out where they're playing and try to get that kill on them early. Whoever's playing the tip of the spear for Rise needs to be taken out sooner, much rather than later.
I'm curious who that tip of the spear is going to be. Maybe Detox. You know, he has been the tip of the spear, at least on Canals. Does he translate that over to checkout? Possibilities there. He's incredible even on Clock Tower, right? Normally getting those quick picks on the sniper. He's normally the action man, the X factor that makes the first move. But it could very well be, Rushies. It could very well be Icy in that moment. You don't know who it's going to be. But regardless, though, Rise needs to win because the next two maps are going to be pretty tough for them with them playing Pittsburgh Knights. And you also look at their history from mid-split playoffs, right? Execution as well as escalation just didn't go their way. And you could think maybe is that going to come to bite them in the butt? It's a possibility. For Pittsburgh Knights, though, these next two maps could be good for them. It really could be. But if they're not good for them, I'm going to be very nervous for them. If PK goes down even 2-0 and they maybe turn it around in escalation, Vaskar going into the next rotation or next control, Colin, with the playing against the Kings of Control, you've got to be worried for PK. At this point, again, Rise, this is their series to lose.
I mean, of course it is. They get that first round under their belt. They have the map lead. So one way or the other, now they see a map board. Doesn't matter what happens in the next two. They see another control, which may get them into that map number 5. That's what I think a lot of people underestimate. Winning a map 1 guarantees you another leg of your journey in a matchup. If you lose map 1, all bets are off. You're not guaranteed anything past that escalation. So now you have to continue to play as hard as you can. Whereas now Rise might be able to throw a few counter strategies into the mix. They might be able to get a little wild and a little wacky, crazy, and cool on an execution checkout map number 2 because they want to throw a wrench into the game plan of the Pittsburgh Knights, and they want to throw them off their game to try to go up 2-0. Now you'll see possibly the Pittsburgh Knights try to play into the situation where they play a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive. I think that might be the tail of the tape. If Rise can figure out the rounds that Pittsburgh wants to be aggressive, can they match it? Or do they play defensively and Lancer out? One way or the other, something that has been pinnacle of play for Pittsburgh in all of their checkouts thus far, even the ones that haven't been in Pro League and E-Days, off map and PKL, whatever it might be, wherever they're playing, they are fantastic with the incendiaries off the platform. I'm letting you know right now, you cannot give up those incense to them. I think from what I've been able to see, I wish I could keep every single incense I've ever seen thrown by them, but I think it's almost a 70% throw or transfer rate. They throw an incense, they get a kill.
That's pretty impressive to say the least. And now you brought up a question, Colin. You asked, right? Does Rise, match that energy, match that aggressive for Pittsburgh Knights off the rip? Or does Rise back off and try to play the passive game? I think you gave the answer during that explanation. You have to kind of match that energy from Pittsburgh Knights because they do so well on the instant fight. Giving the instants to Pittsburgh Knights gives them too much of an advantage. Not to mention, if they're aggressive on the low side of the checkout stands, you're giving them a free snipe. And a free snipe in their hands could be pretty deadly. So overall, Rise, in my opinion, has to match their energy and go head-to-head with them. And I think Rise can do that now with the DNA that they currently have. The old Rise would be a much better team to back off, kind of formulate a plan, think it through, and then they'd be able to strike. But this new Rise, the new DNA, which I guess not so much new anymore, you'd have to say, right? But I guess that old Rise roster with Fran was just there for so long, right? But regardless, though, the new DNA of this Rise roster, I feel they genuinely can go toe-to-toe with even the heaviest slaying power team, and they can do just fine. You just witnessed the Vexies tearing it up, picking up a 3-4 piece. Okay, Detox, we know dang well, can get up close and personal and take the fight to them. Overall, across Russia's ice, I mean, they all can just slay out with the best of them. So Pittsburgh Knights, especially this Pittsburgh Knights team, who has been very more off than on as of recently, I think Rise can match that energy and 100% battle and push PK back.
Yeah, and I want to see Pittsburgh, though, early in these rounds, be able to pressure that platform. I think one of the things that we've seen Rise kind of struggle with, and they actually struggled with it against the Fire and Ice boys. Fire and Ice pressured that platform, and then they forced somebody to kind of rotate around, and they caught Icy in a bad situation on the back checkout lane. They might have caught Avexi's going for a quick pick on the snipe, and now they've got 2 90 degrees or a 45 and a 90 looking dead down sights at him. They need to do a little bit of the same thing. They've got to keep Rise from being proficient in their placement because you know what Rise wants to do. They want to get those players who are so very quick in the fight, like a Detox or Rushies and Avexi's, into those checkout lanes. Let their movement speak for themselves. Even if they get out to the backside where the sniper is, they can let their movement dominate those fights. Pittsburgh needs to keep them controlled, keep them contained. Do not let them get loose. We just saw what happened when Avexi's got loose in map number 1, bouncing around, going absolutely crazy, looking like the Tasmanian devil, swirling around, breaking trees and bushes and houses and whatever might have been in his way.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's the X factor too. I mean, there's so many X factors I think for Rise in general with their movement. Again, yesterday against Noble, today even in that Regency control. When they're in that fight against Pittsburgh Knights, especially in the 1v or maybe even a 1v2, like we see many times from Avexi's and co, their movement is so crisp and so clean that you got to have all the confidence and faith that they're going to win that fight. You know, Pittsburgh Knights used to be that. They did. You know, any fight PK got into, they thought they were heroes. Monkeys, for example, like, man, he's going to win this fight. But again, that's just not the reality that we're currently looking at. PK needs to win this execution. They are expected to win this execution. Statistically, Rise has struggled on execution checkout. But tonight's a different night, and you've said it even at the beginning of the show. It's a Tuesday, and any given Tuesday, any team can win, whether that's PK or Rise. Either way, this is going to be an important win for Rise, and it's going to be an important win for Pittsburgh Knights. But only one of those teams is going to get that W.
You know what the problem with expectations is, aren't you?
Constantly be disappointed?
Problem with expectations is you can always not live up to them.
What's the expectations here?
The expectations of Pittsburgh Knights are 2-0 and Rise is 1-2. That's your expectation. You call out a record, set a level of expectation now for the Pittsburgh Knights. And again, I don't think they care about the pressure from us or their fans necessarily. I think Pittsburgh Knights are struggling with the fact that for so long they've been at the top of the food chain in Latin America. And it's got to be taxing at times. It's got to start to weigh on you to feel that weight to be at the top of a food chain and have to play at a level for so long that it almost becomes immeasurable or innumerable, the weight that has to be on your shoulders.
It's interesting. That's really getting philosophical about competitors, real sports, esports. Yeah, I think you're right. But you can also look at X factors, or I say X factors too much, like kind of outliers. E-United's one of them. E-United's always had the expectation that they need to prove themselves, that they need to play at a certain level. There's no denying that. You can even see, Explosive say at the end when they won the spring major, like, no one knows what they went through to win that victory, to win that major. It was a big win for them. So yes, you do have your outliers that take that pressure and they make a diamond from it, but then you also have teams that, look at that pressure and they fold under it. But one thing that's unique about Pittsburgh Knights, I mean, let's not beat around the bush, let's be very real. You talk about the pressure, the expectation. Pittsburgh Knights for the longest time is different from E-United, right? Pittsburgh Knights was expected to be the first Latin American team to win a major, right? They were the first Latin American team to give hope to Latin America, at least from my perspective, Gears 5 specifically, okay? Because PK was there so many times, so many times. That pressure adds up when you constantly get second place and you constantly fall short. I know we're getting deep here, Chad. I apologize, but we're filling for time, and this is a good discussion anyways, I feel anyways. But PK at a certain point, I don't know if it's necessarily the pressure that got to them, Colin, or if it's the expectation. Or did they just get bored? I don't know.
I'll give you another example. Look, I know you started to follow it a little bit late. Like you came in a little bit late in the life cycle of Gears 4. So did I, but I was always a fan, so I kind of got to witness it. Elevate from the EU region always had the expectation of they're the best team from Europe. They're going to come to every major. They're going to perform, and they're going to be great. They got to second place once. Granted, Pittsburgh Knights have gotten there, but they've gotten second place 4 times. That's got to, and Elevate after their one second place
too.
I was going to say Elevate got to that second place once and slowly got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then they kind of broke up after so long being together in Gears 5. They kind of went their separate ways. Pittsburgh Knights, second place, try different players. Second place. They change another player because they have to, because at 5v5, they go to 4v4, so they drop down to 4 players only. Second place. At some point, the expectations overwhelm me. I mean, I kind of look at it almost like a Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was great statistically his whole career, but nobody gave a damn about how good the round mound was because he didn't have a chip. all the talk was about Charles. It didn't matter if Charles dropped 30 points, 22 rebounds, and 10 assists or 10 blocks, whatever it was. The discussion after the game was, is he going to do it in the finals? Is he going to drop it down in the finals? Pittsburgh Knights have got to feel that same kind of pressure. These four guys have got to feel that same. They got to feel that same weight where if they went undefeated in Pro League, it would be, wow, they went undefeated in Pro League. Are they going to be able to do that in the major? Are they going to win the major finally?
Right.
It's not congratulations. I guarantee you, let's put it loud, and I'll give you this analogy. If Oxygen came out in first, somehow, some way, Oxygen was first place after the Pro League, we spend one sentence on can they win the major and a paragraph on, man, they played awesome all season long. They did this, they did that. E-United, Vanquish, Pittsburgh Knights, Fire and Ice, they're now in the category of we spend one sentence on, man, they won Pro League, and we spend the paragraph on, is this going to translate? And that pressure, it has to be there. It has to be there.
You're speaking facts. You really are. And let's also say this too, right? This was the discussion when me and Blaze were going into grand finals for the spring major playing against United. Okay? We spent one sentence on Fire and Ice is tearing it up, but then we also said, will Latin America finally get their chip? Let's look at teams that have been so close to getting the chip but haven't been able to do it. And now we include all the other Latin American teams, right? And then we have to pull out that Rebel performed really well, but they're not here. Pittsburgh Knights has always been here. Now Fire and Ice is carrying the torch for Latin America. And it's just a big storyline that kind of develops into something much bigger than it really is. But it really is that big because that has been a storyline for so long. You know, and you're right. That is a ton of pressure. It's a ton of pressure, whether it be Pro League, whether it be a major, mid-split playoff, there's always the expectation for a Latin American team that you have to be bigger than you really are, right? You carry this legendary status to make it and obviously overcome finally to win that chip. You know, very well said. An Oxygen example was very well put, because you're right. You know, we talk about Oxygen, you know, they did this, they did that. Okay, cool. They look incredible. And, you know, then we move on from that. But yeah, I mean, that's just a real thing. And I'm glad we're finally getting into the matchup. But that was a good discussion. I like that. And something we definitely have to talk about. By the way, Rushies just about gets caught sleeping. I don't know what he was doing sleepwalking in that moment. But we are going to have a couple of trades. And believe it or not, PK is going to take the first blood despite being the aggressors.
Now we see Avexis trying to come back around the front of that stairwell. A couple of downs come through. Summons trying to make something happen. Gets the revive off. There's a cleanup. He gets one, but he doesn't get the revive. And they will finish off the first round. And good job on Rise after a long takeaway, a long break, 34 seconds into that first round. They come away with a win. Thankfully, they didn't let that long break fickle him, play with him a little bit.
Going into round number 2, PK was aggressive in that last one. Will they be just as aggressive this time? Rise, I'm assuming, is going to play much the same way. I don't know if Rise is going to be aggressive. I really don't. They're clearly not prioritizing that plat, and it might bite them in the butt. Sniper is going to be picked up. For how long? The nades are also going to be picked up from Rushies, but the instant's going to connect. The Vexes will lose his life. Detox as well. Or excuse me, Dezo Summit. Whoa! Monkeys last alive. What just happened? We flipped the map. Monkeys is by himself, and Rise takes round 2.
Did you see how Monkeys was looking around right there?
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean,
he was looking around. He was like, hold up.
I was looking around too because PK clearly, for me and from my perspective, had the advantage there. But then Rise, you know, just flipped the script. Well done. Man, 2 different looks from PK now and 2 different L's.
Looks like Rise is going to have one player on the opposite side of the map to be able to go for frag grenades by himself if he so wishes. Ice is going to go over to the platform, and this is what I was talking about. The way that Pittsburgh has not really challenged him, and he still comes away with a kill. Rushies now has fragmentation grenades. He's going to be able to throw them long if he wants to. He might disrupt his own team's rotations, but it actually, I think, saved his teammate a little bit. It stopped them from being able to rotate on that side of the map and go for the kill. Rushies gets one. He gets another down in a second. Oh, my God, and again, Dezo gonna be looking around like, what just happened?
First Monkeys, then Dezo. You got to feel bad for those players last alive in the open on that check outside in a 1v3. Tough break and Rise 3-0 leading the way. Stats don't matter. Expectations At this point, I don't even know if it's that. Electronics, that's where the overtime hill is going to be, and Rise looking unstoppable.
Here we go again.
Coming off to the next round here, let's see if once again Rise has a free pick on those frag grenades. Here comes the smokes, and no, they are not. Pittsburgh Knights are actually going to play up on it. You see Summons playing all the way across the map now. The 3v3 stacked up over here early in this one. Rise has been tagged up. Here goes the quick pick onto the incendiary grenades by Detox. He jumps up onto the platform, gets the pick. Avexis rotates over to the sniper rifle, tries to go for one shot. It's not going to be able to get that one. Summons wins the 1v1 on the opposite side of the map. He has a chance to pick up the nades as well. See Summons going for a little cheeky angle here across the map. This is their round to lose now. This is the first round that Pittsburgh Knights should be able to get under their belt. First nade out by Summons. Gets an explosion, but no splash damage, no downs, no death. Still 3v4. You see Avexis trying to find a pick here. He needs to find one to be able to save his teammate. Detox just bouncing around on this platform, just trying to stay alive for as long as he can. They're going to double push into one angle of the checkout lanes. Full spread, but not a down or dead. First round on the board for the Pittsburgh Knights.
If I was Rise, I would have tried to kind of rotate my way up towards Electronics. At that point, you could maybe even, isolate Summons, take him down, bring it to a 3v3. You have the sniper, so you know PK is going to be rotating into you to Electronics. Maybe you get a pick there, bring it down to a 3v2. It's a little bit more controlled, but Rise ultimately just couldn't find their way out of that spot. PK had them pinned up, and it could have been a little bit different if Rise was able to get out of that spot, but regardless from PK, well done. They finally take a round. And Rise is going to let that platform go once again. You mentioned PK is so good on that plat fight. Well, that's a good example. They're going to take down Detox and Avexis. Ravers traded, but it's a 2v3. Man advantage over towards the boys of Pittsburgh Knights, and Dezo still has one ensign.
Let's see what Dezo does with it, because now you see it's a 3v2, and last round it was a long time for Rise to play that round out. See what he does here. Dezo's going to try to get a pick here. He throws that ensign deep, forces him straight up into him. Icy with a double shot down there. Might be able to go for the finish, but Summons beautiful angle out, gets that down, and they get the cleanup kill. Now it's up to Rushies. Rushies couldn't get into the kill. Maybe it could have been a little bit better if Icy had just gone for the finish there. As soon as he got around the corner, maybe takes that shot, gets that kill, and it's a 2v1. But that's just that's a tough round to lose, I think, because that shows what Pittsburgh Knights want to do and what they might be able to get going in these rounds early if they continue to pressure that top platform with the incendiaries.
Yep. And you said it best, top platform, incendiaries, giving those over towards Dezo. Rise has to find a way to battle against that. It's an awkward fight. At times it can be a 50-50. But honestly, you can't afford to let them do that. They will challenge this time. This is going to be looking like round number 2, where PK is going to take the bottom side. Rise is going to take the top side. PK this time around, though, a bit more successful. We'll get the quick pick onto Avexis. He's gone. Nice shot onto Icy. Not going to be enough to get the finish. And Pittsburgh Knights has a tremendous advantage. The only thing, though, is they are pinned up on the backside of those checkout stands. And Rise pretty much has them where they want them. Dezo's going to be pretty big in this spot to be able to get a pick. Nice.
Beautiful headshot there on a Rushies. Nade, though, from Rushies finds Monkeys, excuse me. So now it's a 2v3. Once again, the two players left alive for Rise have to be careful not to get body shotted by Dezo. Dezo hops the cover, ends up into the incendiary for just a moment, gets a little bit of damage put onto him. Rotating very wide, continuing to get the angles out, but it looks like Pittsburgh have set up toward the overtime hill, and I like this play out of them. They're going to force Rise to make a move here because they're going to set up toward the overtime hill. So it's a guaranteed round loss if they don't get anything to go, but now they've spread full across the map. One left, one center, one right.
Going to be an interesting placement, interesting ending, and you have to assume Dezo has connected onto one. Can he get the second onto Icy? Maybe so. This would be very telling if PK blows this because they have the positioning, they've got the man advantage, they've got the snipe. Do the instants pull up though before the overtime hill takes place? Oh, I see.
Yeah, I was gonna say the weapons will respawn before the overtime hill comes up. Detox is gonna bounce a couple of times. Dezo missed the body shot there. 2 more shots into the area. Detox gets down. Long range incendiary out of Icy, trying to get this kill onto Dezo.
Good attempt.
He's gonna block himself off though, so even if he gets that kill, it blocks him from pushing up into the hill. 3-3, 3 straight rounds in a row for the side of the Pittsburgh Knights, and that's a great job.
Yeah, excellent job. They tied up 3-3. Well done from PK. And they showed that they can win on a couple different looks. One is attacking the platform side, right? Taking priority on the instance. Rise did try to match that energy off the start, but PK jukes them by going down low, picking up the snipe for themselves. So now they've got Rise guessing. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go for snipe? Are they going to push into us? Are they going to go platform? Well, this time around they go platform and they get away. Instantly, Detox puts it, or right, Dezo puts it to use, taking down Detox. Now Icy put in a tough spot. He's going to drop off. And this is great from PK. They've got two distinct different looks, two successful different looks, and Rise now is struggling to figure out which look PK is going to give them.
And PK, this is Pittsburgh Knights. This is a fantastic job by them. 4 rounds in a row, 2 more to go before they tie it up 1-1. I'm trying to think of what the rotation Rise can do to kind of get back into this. Early in this map, the platform was not really challenged by the Pittsburgh Knights. They were losing rounds back to back to back because of that. Now we come to this next round. I think what we need to worry about is whether or not they have an answer. Icy gets a good stun there. Both players step up onto the platform, but Raver's there first, and this is what I'm talking about. Pittsburgh Knights' platform ability is pretty just stout. The way that they're able to trade out stuns, get different players up onto it. Avexy's going to try to run right through the defense. He gets a down, I believe. I'm not sure if they get the kill on it, Dezo. They do get the kill, but they give up 3 straight deaths. Summons is down. Rushies will have a pick onto him. 2v1 now, though. Middle of the map. Rushies will pick up the nades, and it'll be Sniper and neutral or standard weapons, default weapons versus frag grenades. 1 out by Rushies. Just making that player play back. He's got to worry about getting body shotted because that will be almost an instantaneous down at this point.
Chunks the nade over, has an opportunity to disconnect from this fight, and he's going to do so. Repositions, Raver misses the shot. Rushy's now in cover. Monkeys and Raver forced to push into him. He goes for the challenge, not trusting Raver to hit his shot, and Raver actually misses. The snub fire's in, and Rushy's almost pulls off a heroic play, making the only move that he possibly could. Monkeys going to go for the team pickup, says, hey, brother, we're in this together. That's 5 rounds in a row. PK on map point.
I know this has been a dominant performance toward the middle and second half of this map, and really it's on the backs of Dezo. I think Dezo has played a very picture-perfect role to the backside of the checkout. He's done a lot of damage for his team, and he's played back to the backside every time toward that sniper. He's given up 1 time and has gotten at the other 3 that they've had it in his hands, and has really put his team in a great position to win round after round with his team fire.
All right, Rise, you got to play catch-up now. It's 3-5. 3 rounds in a row is what you need. Icy waiting to be unstunned so he can maybe go for a pickup on the instance. He's finally going to get those. And 2 Rushies from the flank will blindside summons, take him down. It's a 3v2. You got Dezo, Raver last up here. Dezo still has that snipe, as he typically does. Any pick here would even up the odds. Fortunately, though, you got 2 members from Rise to his right. Icy's going to be able to get the cross. It's going to be a tough spot for PK to get out of, and that's going to be a finish on both. Well done, Rise. Stays alive for a little bit longer.
2 rounds to go. They got to play perfect here in these last 2 rounds, 10 and 11. Pittsburgh Knights looking to shut it down, though, in round 10 or 11 here, and good answer by Rise in that situation. I think one of the things that can't be understated, though, is Pittsburgh Knights, it's almost like they could turn it on right there and really start to dominate at any given moment in this map because of the way that they won 5 straight in a row to put Rise in the predicament that they're in.
Okay, Icy's going to take the early damage. Raver's going to be finished off. Great start for Rise. 4v2, 3v2 as it's answered back. Dezo goes to challenge on the plat. Big shots coming out from both angles. Detox will fall. Now 2v2. It's getting scrappy. Avexy's snipe in hand, gets a body on the Monkeys. This is their opportunity that they need. Dezo now is going to be forced over to the right side by himself. 1v2. He's going to be pincered in. Avexy's on one end, Rushy's on the other, and this is all but over, you have to assume. Dezo falls, and we're going to a round 11. That lead from PK goes to the wayside. Now Rise is taking the opportunity to potentially take a 2-0 lead in the series.
All down to round number 11 here, ladies and gentlemen. Whether or not they can come away with this is going to be on the backs of this next round, this final possible round. Right now, Monkeys has to play a little bit better for his squad, I believe. He's going to have to push up. Summons still playing that 1v role on the opposite side of the map. Let's see if they do a full 4v4 over here, and it looks like they're going to do the standard 3-3-1 across the map. And right now, Pittsburgh Knights are going to pressure to get Dezo the sniper, and they get it into his hands. Avexy's goes down, and they get the quick cleanup onto him. That gives them a definitive edge in this round right now.
This is going to be big. Round 11, right? You want that edge, but it's quickly going to be evened up. But a great shot, but a frag will answer back too. But unfortunately, takes down Rushies. 1v3, Icy by himself and down. And PK will win round 11. It got close. It really did. But PK's consistency will shine through. Rounds 4 through 8, absolutely flawless. That round 11 obviously going to them. Dezo, a standout game, 11 kills, 6 deaths, but 5 assists. He put in a ton of work. Well done. PK ties it up 1-1. Coming up next, Fast Car Escalation. You don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Gears Pro League, Split 3 Phase 2, Day 8. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Colin and Crow Clark. And an excellent comeback from Pittsburgh Knights does go to round 11, but they still secure a W to tie up the series 1-1, Colin.
And I really love the way that the Pittsburgh Knights played those last couple of rounds. The way that they were able to rotate around the map, able to get a lot of shots on. You can see it in a lot of these highlights as well. The angles from Pittsburgh just too good for Rise to overcome. And that's one of the things that Rise has to clean up going into the major. We saw what happened to them in that grand finals. They struggled on execution the entire time. It's what comes back to bite them. No matter how good they are at control, they have to be able to settle down on execution and close out a map or two, get a win on execution to win a matchup against a big-time team like the Pittsburgh Knights.
Going into Vascar Escalation, I'm curious if this is going to be the turning point for PK. I did favor them not only on checkout, but also on the Escalation. Rise, though, not the same Escalation team they used to be. That's the narrative I've been driving home, really, since they made that roster change. But maybe Rise does win Vascar Escalation. Would be great for them heading into Reactor Control. But if PK wins Vascar Escalation, we go to Tomb Execution. PK isn't a bad team there. There's a chance they might win this series, but they have to fight tooth and nail for every inch of these maps, and that's just a reality they kind of put themselves in. PK did impress me, though. I mean, showing different looks, showing their ability to kind of take that pressure and, again, turn into diamonds, as I've been saying tonight, and it's exactly what they did. Taking that win was impressive. They had their back against the wall going to that round 11. It's pretty easy to let yourself go once a team comes back and forces a final round, Colin, but they didn't do that. They end up being successful, and they end up winning, showing that composure.
Yeah, they show the composure. And again, this is what we talk about when we talk about a team like the Pittsburgh Knights. They don't get rattled by the situation. They've been there, they've done that. They're a lot like a Fire and Ice City United, a Rise right now. They don't get rattled by that situation. They want to play in those big spots. And again, they still are 4 of the best players on the planet. It's why it was hard for us to really bet against them, because we know that their record isn't reflective of the type of players they are. And of course, we saw the 2-0 on a checkout execution. Now it's 3-0, still holding that goose egg when it comes to losses. They're happy about that. They'll take care of that goose egg all season. They'll say, that's so precious, I don't want to break it.
Is that what they're saying? That's how they're talking to it, Colin? That's the storyline we're driving them. All right, hey, fair enough, man. Who really are you standing or looking to stand out from Rise going into Escalation Vascar? Who is that guy? Who is the one that you at least consistently see in the 1v spot? Because that's the one that kind of been making a difference recently, right? Because normally the team fight, if they're one on tank, that guy who wins the solo fight on the opposite end could be a quick domination. We saw that earlier, right? During the VQ TQ matchup.
Well, I was going to say, I don't necessarily know if he's going to be playing the 1v spot, but I think a big power player for the side of Rise, somebody we got to keep our eyes on, is Rushies. He's played in a lot of different positions for them before on Escalation, whether it be under Fran's guidance or now this new blood, this new genetic makeup Rise. He's played in 1vs. He's played the tip of the spear in team fights. I think we got to harken back to what Jacob said, though. What Jacob has always said about Rushies is you got to give him a position where he can kind of get loose. He's got to get early kills to make himself feel that same kind of confidence that he should have because of his ability, because of his talent. Once you get him rolling, he will continue to rack up kills and assists and damage for your team. He will make your life much easier. You don't want him struggling. So I really put an emphasis on him to need to start going earlier rather than later.
Do you feel Rushies has, in fact, been let off the leash, right? Let off the chain? Do you think he's able to kind of shine more so than he has in the past? I mean, when you think about Rise, Vexi's, Detox, Icy have been the guys getting a lot of praise with how well they've been playing. But what do you think about Rushies?
Well, I think Rushies has always kind of played, and this is going to sound terrible. I think Rushies has always kind of played in a shadow. When he was on that Ghost Gaming team, he had the likes of Ribs around him. That he's a historic player. but he also kind of always got talked about as the duo of Speedy. People talked about Speedy, and then they'd mention Rushies. And then they move over to Rise, and then they talk about Fran, and then they talk about Rushies. And I think what has happened now is Rushies has the ability where he's not necessarily under the radar, but he can play free. He understands that he's not going to get the shine for some reason. He's not going to get the shine that he may thinks he believes he deserves, or that he's actually deserves in general, that he should be entitled to because he is a great player. So I think you're seeing a Rushies that has finally come to terms with that. He's come to terms with that mental block of I'm always the second fiddle. Now that man doesn't care if it's second fiddle or third concerto. That man wants to come out and absolutely obliterate the competition because he wants to win. It's in his blood to want to win, and he wants to strive to be the best.
Look, I mean, you can't deny that Rushies is an incredible player. He was on that championship roster 2 LAN events in a row, starting off San Diego, Mexico, with reciprocity. And I'm sure he wants another chip. You better believe that he just about got one with MSP. Obviously, we know the story there being a little bit short to VQ, 1 round away from winning. Of course, that came down to Tomb. But when it does come to this next major, you better believe they're coming back for vengeance. You said it was the revenge tour. It 100% is, and Rise is playing as if they want to be that championship caliber roster. PK barely skates by to get it up to a 1-1 tie. Now can they bring it a little bit more? Can they lead 2-1 and really put the pressure on Rise? This map is going to be telling. Let's see who ends up ahead, Colin.
Summons, I like the over-rotation really quickly back to the middle of the map. He's actually going to go straight over to that C hill. He's going to try to get into the area to try to pressure the home hill. It's a 3v2 over here, and Avexi's now by himself in a 3v1. He's going to bounce around, try to find a kill. Not going to be able to get any of them to go. He'll go down. You see here now, it's going to be up to Detox and his teammates to try to hold off the retake over here at B. And I like that. Pittsburgh Knights, they left the C hill. They said, we're not dealing with respawns. We're going to go over here. We're going to kill your teammates off of B. We're going to settle up in a 2v1 hill situation. And Icy, if he goes big here, gets a couple of kills, he could really give his team a chance to come back into this round. But he goes down. B hill now in favor of the Pittsburgh Knights. Summon still playing his home, playing it defensively as well, and has done a great job of just really forcing Rise to make bad situations or bad calls over here, trying to fight back against the defense of the Pittsburgh Knights.
And the defense is set up very solid. I mean, PK holding their ground, not getting overzealous. I like that. You're not biting off more than you can chew. Plus, you're putting Rise in a spot where they have to push up, potentially making the first mistake. Dezo, oh man, he can't get out of there. Icy had his cross of Vexies, was also there. Summons now is forced to go for the revive, and now Rise sees an opportunity to pounce onto A. Still, PK standing up and fighting hard, but it's not going to amount to much. Raver, Summons, Dezo, all will lose their lives. Monkeys last alive. He's now gone, and domination coming through, and Rise will successfully break through that defensive setup I was just praising from Pittsburgh Knights and take round 1.
Pittsburgh Knights, they need to worry about that kind of a retake. Rise, they really had them where they wanted them most of that round. Pittsburgh Knights, though, they fall to the wayside late in that situation. You see what can happen. It takes one mistake for them to kind of overwhelm you. And that's a lot what they have right now. When we talked about their genetic makeup and how slay heavy they are, I mean, they are built to ride at 120 miles an hour right now, and that's exactly what they just showcased, because that one little misstep by Pittsburgh Knights, the opening they gave them, allowed them to come back into that round and overwhelm them in situations and get a triple cap domination.
Going into round 2, Rise is going to be on the rival side, typically the stronger side, at least as we have seen tonight. Potential to take a 2-0 lead would be impressive. Chaining together 2 rounds so early on would give them a distinct advantage, forcing Pittsburgh Knights to fight back. Vexi's rocking that Boltok with the fresh new line of sight, as you were pointing out just a little bit earlier, and he's connecting some shots still. PK continues to push forward. Vexi's full red can't do much, and PK will successfully overtake Alpha and continue to push forward.
Another kill there on a Detox, and again, it's almost like the same old song and dance. Early initial going over to the side of the Pittsburgh Knights, and they have the 2-1 hill advantage. Now they're going to threaten the triple cap domination. Vexies has to throw that flash. Almost gets chainsaw, but hits the up A, gets the kill. A second player now into the hill. They get the touch that they need. They get the decap. Now Summons playing here on the home hill with Raver. Shots on, trying to get these kills, trying to get them to play back toward the Sea Hill, and now it is a mad dash across the map if they want to try to overwhelm the Sea Hill, but it looks like they're going to settle up just for a moment, wait for the fourth player back off, and try to figure out where they can push out. Monkeys went for a little cheeky chainsaw kill there, but isn't able to convert it, gets killed, and allows them to get that decap, and now flies out of that cover in that position, gets full red, and jumps off into the middle. He's going to try his best to just get away with his life intact as 2 kills come through with the Sea Hill. Nobody from Rise stays there to decap it, which might be a misstep, but they might actually try to step up and get a double home hill setup here and just wait for Pittsburgh to try to push back into this.
Setting up defensively is solid. PK tried this earlier. It didn't work out for the best. Will Rise be more successful in this case? Dezo does have that fresh Boltok. He's going to be able to rotate in for the fight. That's definitely going to be helpful. And speaking of which, he's going to be able to use that against the Vexies. Monkeys taking the... Oh, man, Icy tries to fly in. This is going to put a Vexies in a tough spot. And yeah, he's going to be finished up. PK successfully retakes. Now, the biggest difference from last round to this round, though, PK obviously ended in a way of domination. Rise finds a way to win the fight against Raver on the opposite end. They're going to manage to take B. But overall, they give the 2-1 back to PK with them already having the lead that they have. They're going to be within striking distance, 20 seconds of taking the victory.
See here, there's a flash out to the top of the stairs of Vexies, just continuing to mount up a defensive position there. Mid-neutral and home hill in favor of Rise. Summons full red, trying to get away from this fight. You see Rushy's on the flank here, trying to shoot to the backside of multiple members of the Pittsburgh Knights. Nobody getting any points here. Vexies will turn. I like that decision. He knows that he's got Monkeys in front of him, and he actually baits him into the up A fight. Beautiful little chunk out of him. That's going to be a 2-1 hill cap in favor still of Rise. Cog team wins, though, in 15 seconds. They need a decap on the Sea Hill. Vexies now, all he has to do is get the decap, but Dezo runs straight into him and gets the kill. 2 more players coming into the fight. Rushy's on one side. Opposite end gets shut down. Now it's up to Rushy's in a 3v1. He'll go down. He'll be dead. 1-1. Pittsburgh Knights answer back.
Well done, PK. Like you said, answering back 1-1. A big win if they take this Vaskar escalation to head into the potential final map 5, right? Because you have to assume the reactor is going to go to the way of Rise. But things can change, and PK has provided some incredible upsets in the past, most notably, obviously, to that of Vanquish very early on. A lot of damage across the board, but relatively even. Of Vexies, though, kind of that shining star, the outlier, was 6,500 in total, plus he's almost leading in overall kills. Vexies continues to slay out and do his part, much like he did on Regency Control.
Coming into the third round, I'd like to see Rise maybe play a little bit better in the initial. That's one of the things that they've struggled with thus far. They keep giving an early advantage over to the Pittsburgh Knights. Granted, they keep fighting back into it, but I think the problem with that is you keep coming down to the wire with these rounds. You're expecting Pittsburgh to maybe make a mistake, and that second round, they don't give it to you, and they end up coming away with a round win. So you don't want to give up a third map here, or a second map, excuse me, but the third map overall in the matchup with the Pittsburgh Knights. Find yourself in the control down 2-1, try to make it 2-2 going into that final execution. The flash is out. Now playing toward the backside of that elk cover of Vexies. He's going to have to play back now. He's hoping to play against Monkeys pretty standard. The retro out for Monkeys. Double shot in for Vexies. Gets the kill. Now it's going to be up to Detox to pressure up onto the B-Hill with Icy. Dezo's going to step out. Dezo's going to get tagged up a little bit by Icy, but Detox can't really move in this situation. The angle from Icy might be a little bit too much for Dezo to overcome. He gets down, and now here comes the back ace from Detox. Plays into the hill, and as third player comes over for Rise, they're going to threaten this triple cap domination momentarily. Both players caught in the middle of no man's land. They don't have anywhere to go, anywhere to hide, and that's the mistake they needed. Rise convert round 3 into their own, get it 2-1.
Yeah, curious what Summons and Monkeys were wanting to do in that spot. You know, were they thinking about going through mid and going cross map to maybe go for the decap on one of the hills? Maybe, but I think they were also expecting that tank fight not to be as one-sided as it was. But either way, a bit of a misplay, Colin, from Summons and Monkeys. They should have just head down straight into tank. That would have been their best opportunity. That would have been, honestly, their only chance of keeping the round alive, but doubling back in mid and then kind of, you know, coming back, trying to go towards tank, ended up just being the difference maker. Not a good play overall. Interesting, you know, kind of play, though, here. I'm sure it'll even up with the shock and instant, but PK prioritizing the retro and the Boltok. Meanwhile, Rise is just as happy with the shock.
Their Rise is going to continue to try to play this standardized. They've been able to make Pittsburgh make a couple of missteps here, and that's how they've gotten their rounds, and I think they're going to continue to rely on that same kind of pressure middle of the rounds, and now it's going to be a 2v2 mounted up. Little shot out from Avexi's trying to get that angle. I like the over-rotation from Rushies. It puts the pressure on the Monkeys. He's going to go down, and now it's a 4v3 on the map, and all three players from Pittsburgh are spread out. Monkeys has to go ahead and die off. You see Avexi's is tagged up even more. Back A out from Detox, pressuring to the top side of this hill, gets the kill onto Summons, and now has the 6th angle of Dezo. Dezo's going to go down. That opens up the C hill for a possible retake here, but they need to be careful. They need to be cautious because the respawns are going to come out very shortly. Detox gets called out. He has to rotate around, goes for a roadie strafe, hits a full spread there on the Raver, but is not going to be able to get anything else to go. They get the revive off, Flasher out, triple cap domination's about to be threatened. They need one more second in the hill, and they get it to go. 3-1, Rise well on their way to winning this map number 3.
Well underway indeed. And again, scary reactor control coming up next, but Rise playing very well. And I think the biggest takeaway is Rise continues to fix their deficiencies. Rise on Training Grounds escalation, Colin, has been incredible. They've been playing that very, very well. Granted, we don't see much Harbor anymore, but Rise is a great Harbor team. Vaskar, though, Vaskar is one of those maps that's kind of been up in the air, a bit iffy. Rise isn't bad on it, but they've never been great on it. But if they can turn around and win this in a convincing fashion, Rise could just be overall looking like the scariest team that we have in Pro League currently. And let's not forget their record. They're currently in 2nd place, just below that of Vanquish. And you got to give props to Rise for overcoming and really coming back even stronger on the Revenge Tour after losing MSP.
And right now, they're playing fantastic. They need to get this round win, though. I think they need to continue to dominate the situation. Big back A out of Rushies. He gets that kill, and Rushies now mounted up here at that first half home hill of the Pittsburgh Knights. Raver gets killed there, but he's going to give out the intel of where Rushies was exactly. And now you see Avexi's coming through the bottom side. He's going to try to back A here on his Summons. You see Rushies has that top angle. He's going to be able to damage out multiple players from the side of Pittsburgh Knights. 2-1 hill cap in favor of Rise right now. And Pittsburgh doesn't really have a leg to stand on. They got to pick a fight. They got to go for it. They can't stay standard here. They cannot go 2-2. I think because of the positioning from Rise and the little bit of a point advantage they have, they're going to play into the jaws of the defense, and it might cost them their life. Summons full red there because of the shock grenade. Raver full red as well. One more shot on either of them might be the down they need. You see the snubs out for Rise. They get another down all the way across the map, and here comes the 3rd player. This is what I think they needed originally to go with. They needed to find a 3rd player and try to just pressure onto either of the two teams. From Rise, they throw a shock to block the exit, and that is a horror house for them. Icy will rotate over. Good little rotation out of them. They win the 2v1 on the opposite side of the map to just get the home hill of Pittsburgh Knights and keep the pressure on.
Yeah, well done for Icy, not only getting across, but also rotating over towards F, despite that absolute collapse of Rise on the opposite end, PK taking the advantage. Still, Rise finds a way to keep the 2-1, and they also break 2 players off to bring it to a 2v2, now naturally a throw. Oh my lord, Detox. There's that headshot you were talking about, brother, when you were streaming earlier. Hey, that Boltok hurts.
Hurt him. Gotta hurt him. Also, Pittsburgh Knights have flipped the script here. They got the 2-1 hill advantage because of Raver holding down the home hill. But look at this. Avexi's waiting patiently for Rushies to come off a respawn. Full red. Pushing up toward the backside. Hits another big Boltok shot, which allows Rushies to hit the one-hit Aquita there onto Raver. 2-1 hill advantage will go back over to Rise. And it looks like Pittsburgh Knights going for a full flank here. They're going to go across the map to the D hill. Playing over toward the spawn of Rise. They're going to get the call out. They know where their players are. They know that there's going to be a 2-man defense here, and it's going to be a 2-2 across the map. They need double D caps out. Summons throws a smoke to the backside. Now you see the shot come out. That's going to try to block off the front side of the hill. One player dead. Avexi's hits another headshot with the Boltok. They clean up the 2nd kill. They keep their home hill. And ladies and gentlemen, Rise 1 round away from a 2-1 map lead.
And an impressive victory on Vaskar if they take it 5-1. It wouldn't be the final nail in the coffin, but it would definitely be a wake-up call, I think, for Pittsburgh Knights, knowing like, man, we're really in trouble here. We're not even able to win escalation, which, you know, Pittsburgh Knights traditionally has been a wonderful escalation team. But like I said, as of recently, I don't know where PK strong suits are. Even execution comes down to the wire, round 11. And that very easily could have went over towards Rise. And this could have been a 3-0. Something that would definitely not have been satisfactory towards Pittsburgh Knights. But let's see how this turns out, Colin. The breakout is here. It's going to be I believe a 2-2 split on both ends. Yep, that's exactly what it's going to be. So it's going to be 2 players for 2 over on E, and then potentially 2 onto the tank fight.
Rushies is going to play at the top of the stairs. Avexis comes from the flank, though, gets one, and now they get shots on the Raver. Double shots on Rushies with one more, gets the down. They're going to let him bleed out. They have the defensive stand now at the E hill. They're going to take that hill, and Avexis will push up. He knows that both players are about to respawn here momentarily. They're going to call him out. Avexis, no man's land for him. He's going to get triple lancered. Icy tries to pull up now to save his teammate. Gets one down. Gets the kill onto Summons. I like that. He said, you're going to go for the revive? That's fine, brother. I'll shoot you in the face all the same. I ain't worried about it. Detox now gets the shock to his left. He's kind of stuck here. Double bounce out. Tries to get the shot over the cover. Won't be able to get that one. Looking for either player to make a misstep, trying to play into this fight. Now it's going to be a 2v1 at the E hill. I think Rise has their numbers, and they got to make the call out. They got to make sure they pressure either side of the map, try to get a couple of kills in one situation or the other. Pittsburgh Knights, they just need to find an opening. They got to find a little bit of a momentum here in this map, or they're going to find themselves down 2-1 going into control.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good spot for them to be in without question. With Rise already having the lead here and winning the fight on E, things go from rocky to rough for the boys of Pittsburgh Knights. 2v1, Detox able to isolate. That is just perfect timing. The fact that he's in a 2v1 and Monkeys doesn't push up to help, that's tough because now Detox is able to isolate 2 1v1s instead of a distinct 2v1, and now Monkeys is being pressured back as Rise to Cavalry is starting to come in. But does Rise know that PK has also refreshed their own troops on the opposite end? I don't know so. Vexis, though, will get at least try to go for the down in the second. Not going to happen. A lot of moving pieces here. Rise so close to victory. They just have to decide. Do they want to park the bus? Do they want to continue to play offensively? Because right now, spreading themselves thin is not going to work. PK, they've got numbers, and they're going to use them.
Shots out by Icy over the top. Gets the down onto Dezo. Second body shot on another down. Raver has to get this kill onto Icy. He can't just keep going for these revives. It's going to make life too easy. They finally get it. There's the domination. It ticks through. Second round in favor of the Pittsburgh Knights. 3 more to go to get this map 3 win. I'm really unbelievably curious what they're going to do here because, again, they've made a lot more mistakes in this escalation than Rise has. And I think that that's one of the things that can't be understated. Rise in escalation right now is taking advantage of every little misstep. They're taking advantage of any death they get or any kill they get, and pressuring across the map. They're making Pittsburgh Knights play for every inch of real estate.
Excellent.
Kind of been really the theme, honestly, even in execution. PK has a chance. The fact that they stay alive is good. They slip one away from Rise, who had the advantage the entire time. Rise just doing a bit too much, rotating around, playing as individuals, and just kind of got the most of them. Again, they could have parked the bus and won that last round, but they don't. Raver is on the hunt. He wants these eliminations, man. Unrelenting. The pressure is real, but Rise successfully pushes them back, and Dezo wins the fight on the opposite end. Things are about to get pretty crazy for Rise, and they're going to drop. This is a PK round, Colin.
Yeah, PK is going to get this to 4-3. They get a great wave of momentous kills early on. They conclude it with a triple cap domination, less than a minute. That's the shots that they need to land. I mean, they hit absolute bricks in that round, and they didn't slow down. Right now, the moral of the story is Pittsburgh Knights, they have the chance when they play together. It's not necessarily that Rise is overwhelming them in wolf packs. They're not setting up better than they are. Rise are finding little angles and little missteps from Pittsburgh Knights, whereas Pittsburgh Knights, if they can clean those up and play as a singular unit, they can win these rounds.
It's looking good for PK. This would definitely be slipping the rugs from underneath the feet of Rise. Now, one of the things, though, Rise has pretty consistently been on map point only to blow a lead, and that's just a reality that they're kind of facing. It's almost like PK, you know, always gets to grand finals, but manages to get second place. So you've got two teams who have definitely had their struggles and demons in the past, but Rise has to battle against that demon and win one more round to close this out. But PK's not having any of it. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and they're taking that mile, Colin. Big fight, though, for E. Oh, Tezo goes up those stairs. He's going to be punished for that one. Shock's going to be placed, too. Icy wants to push this onto Summons. That's going to be 2 players down for PK. This might be a bad spot for Pittsburgh Knights, depending on how Rise plays this, because they're even pushing into their spawn on the opposite end.
Now you see the 2 hill cap for Rise. They have the mid-neutral in their home back. They're going to catch up here momentarily, but I think they need to find the numbers. They got to hold off a little bit and find their numbers. They got to call out lane priority. You see 2 players, now 3 players for the Pittsburgh Knights pressuring up onto the home hill. Don't know if they have anything to really stave this off. They're going to lose this home hill. Over to the Pittsburgh Knights, 2 players from Rise, Rushies and Detox, pushing up into the D hill. Summons with a lot of damage. Here comes Raver. Summons goes down. Raver's going to push up, but Rushies is already down. Raver with a back A onto him. Now it's Rushies versus Raver at this hill. Decap comes through, and Rushies, the longer he's here, the more in danger he is because of the fact that the respawns are going to be coming off very shortly, and here they come. They don't even need him. Raver gets that kill quite succinctly, and now Pittsburgh Knights can push back across the map pretty free and clear.
You said pretty free and clear indeed, and this could play pretty bad for Rises. PK gets on all hills almost just for a quick second. Obviously, Rise is going to be on F, but 4 strong on the tank, but Monkeys is putting up one hell of a fight. He commits his life there. Risky play to get the finish, but you got to admire the tenacity and the ability to push forward confidently, knowing his teammates, when he doubles back, is going to have the pick. But Rushies is going back for a revenge tour. Monkeys, hey, even though Monkeys makes that good play, Rushy says, I'm gonna one-up you, brother, and take down 2 of your members. Monkeys now in a terrible spot. And talk about a quick recovery from Rise. Player 8 is even on the other end, challenging player 3. Is it enough, though? Clearly, Rise will have the win condition, but will PK be able to snap back?
I don't know. PK, they have the E-Hill. They're going to have their 4th player back off of respawn here shortly. It's going to be a full 45 seconds for Rise to win this round. Incendiary will block off the back ledge. They're going to be able to stand in the front of the hill, though, get a decap, which, I mean, just is going to make life harder for Rise to try to win this round. They're going to be on the E-Hill now, and they still have their home. But Icy and Rushies with a triple kill, and Icy with 2 of them. That Incendiary blocks it. Oh, my God, he's yawning. That Bolter's yawning. I thought he was going with the Undertaker. I said, my man is giving him the throat slip, but instead he's just yawning. He said, I ain't got time for that nonsense. They win that bad boy 5-3. They go up 2-1, and we are going back to control.
Back to control for the Kings to potentially lock this up 3-1 Reactor. And interesting, what is it not? I don't know. Historically, PK has not been a bad team on Reactor, and that's because I always prided them on their close quarter abilities, their close quarter fights, right? That's kind of something PK was always great on, at least back in the escalation days. So Reactor might play into their strong suit. But again, it's control. And Rise are the positional master of control. They've got the fights down pat. Avexis, will go back to Regency, absolutely popped off. Rise even tweeted out 1.75 KDA overall. He had 17K damage as a whole. Like, these are things that are impressive. Going back into the wheelhouse, being 1 map down, that's tough on you.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that Pittsburgh Knights, they got to come away with a win, but this is a situation where the Pittsburgh Knights are going into Reactor. It's not a map that we see Rise play often. When they do play it, it's not necessarily as picture perfect as some of the, as we've seen them be on Regency. They have some struggles rotating around the map, but of course there's no M-bar for a guy like Avexis or Detox to go absolutely nuts with. They have to play for that torque, though. It could be a little bit of a difference maker because of the different power weapons and the way that the map plays out necessarily for the team fights. So I don't know if this is necessarily a panic button for Pittsburgh Knights, but it definitely can't feel good that they kept coming back in that situation. My God, that was so beautiful by Icy. So understanding his position was too good in that situation.
Rise's positioning in general, like from each individual player, you can even collectively put it as a team. I'm telling you, they've just been looking so clean and so good, Colin. That's the thing, man. Rise is looking on top. And it makes sense because they got 2nd place at MSP. Rise hasn't, they haven't skipped a beat. They're looking just, honestly, this has been one of the best performances from Rise in a long time in Pro League in general. Yeah,
without a doubt. And again, I really believe that it's coming down to Rise team firing like the likes of a Vanquish, the way that Fire and Ice was against a United earlier tonight. Rise, in so many situations, were finding players of the Pittsburgh Knights I don't want to say not necessarily paying attention, but it's one of those situations where you're able to get to the 45, the 90 degree of somebody, and then you don't realize how damaged you are until somebody hits you with a half a spread from a Nasher from your right hand. It's almost like Velociraptors. They were swarming the entire night. I mean, to quote the man out of Jurassic Park 1, they were clever girls, baby. They were fucking setting them up and taking them down.
I guess so. Velociraptor. You got to add in the most random stuff, man, with the commentary. Velociraptors. I love it though. Hey, I'm not messing with the Velociraptors. They're smart. They're vicious. They got claws.
What about a Dilophosaurus? Would you mess with a Dilophosaurus?
I have no idea what that is. I won't be real with you.
A Brontosaurus?
I have no clue what it. You said a Dilophosaurus?
A Dilophosaurus. What about a Pteranodon?
Pteranodon sounds familiar. I don't know these things, man. I was never good at geology. What is no. Dilophosaurus?
Are you gonna look it up? Look it up. Yeah.
Brother, I'm so glad for spell check. What the heck is that, bro? I'm not messing with that.
The fact that my man pulled up the Dilophosaurus.
Hey. Isn't that the thing though? That's like 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? But either don't I think spits acid, right? Dilophosaurus?
Yeah, that's the one that, well, technically it could spit acid. They believe they found what would be an acid gland recess in their skulls when they found artifacts. So they're assuming that it had some kind of spit or venom that it could use as a defensive mechanism.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm not messing with it regardless, bro. It opens up the freaking wings on the neck. I don't even know what that is, dude. I'm not touching that. No, I'm running away. Any dinosaur you send my way, I'm running away. Dilophosaurus, Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor,
Brachiosaurus, Velociraptor,
whatever,
Pterodactyl, Triceratops,
Bronchitosaurus. I'm not messing with any of them, brother. Not messing with any of them. I don't care. Don't care, bro. Hey, I'm running the opposite direction. Do you think Pittsburgh Knights are running the opposite direction right now, or are they going headstrong in the rise?
I think Pittsburgh Knights, what they've got to do in this next round is less about the hills, really. They did not do a good job of lane priority, and control is a lot about that. You have to understand where your resources are and where your opponent is set up. One of the things that Rise has done very well, and I wish people would take more note of it, is when Rise sets up for the next hill, they are, and I know a lot of people make fun of him for this and they make jokes about it, they kind of send rushies off on a mission. They're like, go find a spot that they're never going to expect you to be sitting and then pick one player off. If you trade out and it's 3v3 coming into the hill, it's a lot easier because that gives you respawn intel that tells you what side of the map they're coming from. It tells you where you're going to be able to angle them out from, and it's going to allow you to set up better in that hill. Just allowing one player to play out like that, giving him the freedom to get that kind of rotational flank onto players as they come back off of the map, gives you more intel and more insight into the next team fight than you could ever imagine. It's almost invaluable. And sometimes he comes away with 2 kills. I mean, I've never seen him come away with a trip, but sometimes he comes away with 1. That next person's basically shaking his head, trying to hold too many watermelons and gets shot again. And it's one of those situations where you're like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, Rushies is taking control of the map by himself. So I think that's what they've got to worry about. When it comes to Reactor, it's a darker map. There's not as much light as you have on a Regency. So you've got to be able to take care of your lanes and get the intel correct.
Yeah, the angles on Reactor are so just brutal, man. So absolutely brutal. Like you said, Rush, she's hanging around the corner, picking up a tube. Like, these things happen on the regular, and every single time you see Reactor played. Just a reality. I love the fact that you say, you know, people make fun of it or whatever. People have fun with it. And but yeah, I mean, whenever it does come to Rush, she's absolutely incredible. You broke it down very well. I'm glad I asked you that question about Rushes, you know, kind of how he feels, the history of them. And I think you broke it down very well, Colin. And you know, maybe that explains why he's been playing so well as of recently. I gotta say, man, hey, Rise, they're looking good. Pittsburgh Knights, they gotta answer back. They really do. We need to see that old PK, baby. That old PK, that up in your face, ready to slay you out. That's what we gotta see come back. No, we need that. That's what has to happen.
My man said we need it. It's like oxygen and sustenance. We now need the PK of old. And by the way, I'm gonna ask you this while we have a moment. Does it ever make you laugh when we see chat spell out how we sound as North Americans saying PK, where they're like PIKEI, where they're like PK?
I have never. Is that what they're doing? I want to be real with you.
It cracks me up. It cracks me up because, especially when I say it, because I got like a heavy accent at times, especially if I get excited where I'm like, man, PK's coming back in this round. I'm like, that's kind of how you'd spell that. If you phonetically spelled out PK when I say it in a quick sentence, Pikei, man. And I guess at least, I don't know, even if they're making fun of me, it's adorable to me. I look at it, I'm like,
it's adorable. Twitch chat, you're just adorable. Is that what it is?
Look, that's how I gotta treat Twitch chat nowadays because there's so many of them that hate me that I gotta look at them like they're just adorable. You're just so cute. Go on, get out of there. Come on, he's so cute.
PK, how else would you say it though? That's what I'm confused about.
I've been trying to make a point of it tonight. I don't know if you've noticed of calling them either Pittsburgh Knights or Pittsburgh Knights. I've tried very hard tonight to always say the full name, and I've slipped up twice. I've got to count. I've got like a little tally sheet. Like when I do with team fights, I got a tally sheet over here for every time I actually say that during a cast.
I never knew that. I mean, I never knew that was even an issue. I'm gonna be real.
I don't think it's an issue. I think it's just, you know how it is. I think it's one of those things that I noticed that nobody else does.
Fair enough. I never noticed that. I never noticed. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it makes more sense.
That's because they love you.
PK.
They don't do it when you say it. They love you.
Well,
they're like say it to me again, Taylor.
Colin, you pick fights with them. Let's be very real. Hey, you ask for it. Hey. You're constantly trying to square up with chat anytime you can muster it. You have that. See, look at you looking around now. You're looking for something to grab.
I need a stick to poke chat with. I'm like, hold on. I'm looking for it. Hold up.
Pull out the American flag or the. No, you can't do that right now. But you know what? Because you're always starting fights with them, man. Always.
I usually
you
always
ask for it. You're ask for it.
I'm not.
I'm more neutral. I'm just kind of like, what? I'm just out here. I'm out here so I don't get fined. Let's be real. I'm here. Okay. I have a good time. But I love chat. Chat's cool. You guys are in last place. Take that with a grain of salt. Last place in predictions.
He laid it on him right there, ladies and gentlemen. He said, you're in last place. Deal with that. Deal with the fact that you're in last place.
I don't know. Last place. I'm sure you guys will come back, though. You guys always do. Chat, you're awesome, all right, so hopefully the guys will be loaded up very shortly. We'll be heading into the fourth map control reactor. We kind of broke it down. We discussed it. Chat, experts, what are we looking at here? Pittsburgh Knights, what can they do differently to come back into this? What is lacking in their overall control game? Look, Regency, they got mollywopped 300 to 128. By the time they even started to look good, it was already too far gone. Already too far gone by that point, chat. As we head into the fly through, I would love to see what you guys have to say. I really do, because a lot of you guys out there are avid fans. You watch the streams. You're passionate. What's going on with Pittsburgh Knights? Let me know, because I don't know. All right, let's head into map number 4, Colin. It's going to be a good one.
We're going to go into reactor, and again, I want to see what the priority is for both of these teams. I really think that if you are the Pittsburgh Knights, you need to get an early initial here. You need to get a power weapon and maybe be able to get a retake off. But for Rise, go with what got you here. Don't quit your bread and butter, baby. There's no reason to change it up.
There's no reason to change it up, indeed. I mean, for Rise, why do they need to change? It's up to Pittsburgh Knights to make the changes. Rise is in second place, right? They're nipping at the heels of VQ, which, by the way, pretty poetic, is it not? Right? You got number 1 and number 2 at MSP, both fighting for the first place spot at this current time. You'd love to see it, man. It's working out as it should.
Now we go into the initial hill. You can see already Rise inside with Detox playing the backside of that pillar. They get there first. They set up. You go on a little bit of a flank trying to get Rushies over to the backside, and good lane priority by Summons. Summons realizes he gets the call out on the flank. He plays down. He gets that first shot off. Detox now has to worry about multiple players in front of him. Monkeys and Summons there. 3 players are going to stack up here momentarily. Detox almost gets picked right there, but thankfully the Torque Bow from the middle of the map helps get that kill onto him, and now they're going to continue to push in. It looks like Avexis has pulled the snub and is going to get challenged here in the middle of the map. I believe he got to backpack the Torque Bow. I don't know if he dropped it. He did drop the Torque. He's got 2 bolts left in it. They could get a little retake here if they want to.
Retake would be definitely welcome, definitely warranted. Dezo throws that one out. Not too much effect, though. And I guess we're just going to be playing for next call, and that's just going to be the main play. Raver doing a great job holding down spawn control. Needs to do this. Rise, as they rotate out, they're going to be running into a wall of Pittsburgh Knights members, and it's going to be a bit of a mismatch because Detox refuses to get off that hill, at least as of now. He wants to milk every second he possibly can from the first hill. So for players 2 and 3, Icy and Rushies, they're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage, but I guess an advantage swings over because Pittsburgh Knights wants to prioritize with Dezo as well as Monkeys, the 2v1. Little bit of an interesting kind of reaction from Pittsburgh Knights, but here they go. BK set up quite well. Dezo snubbing out, trying to take down Avexis or at least get some damage along the way, but Avexis continues to kind of move up and threaten his positioning.
Avexis is going to try to bounce up these stairs toward Monkeys, but he's going to get shot in the back again. I like the fact that Pittsburgh can slow it down at times against Rise, and that's when they can take advantage of these fights. That's when they're making Rise work for it. Also, I've got to say this, Taylor. You want to talk about people that play the game? Summons' character model is the Trinity Scourge. You only got that for finishing in the top 100 in a competitive playlist from Rank. Top 100.
Yeah, grind the game, man. I mean, that's even if you grind the game, to be top 100 in anything is just impressive. You know, it's really, and that's what we always say. Even the team that gets destroyed in Pro League, the fact that they made it as the top 12 team in Pro League out of all the competitors in the world, it's impressive. Gotta hang your hat on that.
I mean, I take any victory I can. So I completely applaud Summons for using that Trinity Scourge. I mean, that is just a nasty looking. It's a beautiful skin. Dezo, he gets the kill though. Or Detox gets the kill. Dezo now with the Torque Bow is going to be rotating through the bottom of the map. The next hill is about to pop on the top or the bottom left side, excuse me, of your map. Flash out by Icy. Here comes the Torque. Quick little reload here into the next possible shot. Rotates around, gets a tag on a second player, 2 kills with 2 bolts, and now he's got 1 more to deal with. 3 for 3. 3 for 3, give it to him.
3. Now, is it going to be enough, though, for Pittsburgh Knights to make the break? Potentially. Dezo continues to move in. Raver and Monkeys are going to capitalize by taking down Icy and Detox. Rushy's going to be mid, trying to gain some positional advantage if he can, but this is a highly competitive one so far. It started out pretty one-sided with Rise, but being so early, you can't really take that to the bank, right? You got to take it with a grain of salt, and for Pittsburgh Knights having the lead, you gotta love it, especially as a Pittsburgh Knights fan in general. But setup, what is Rushies and Avexis going to be up to? Looks like Pittsburgh Knights have their number. They're going to match their numbers in general. Player 1, Detox in mid, he's kind of caught out. I don't know how he's going to get out of this spot.
Well, I think Monkeys has to worry about whether or not they straight push at him, but they've got a 2v2 over there. Icy now trying to rotate over. He gets a little bit of help from the middle of the map. You can see it looks like he sits down, but I love that roadie strafe right up into the grill, gets the shot on, gets the kill. 103 to 74 now. And this is what I'm talking about. I wasn't necessarily afraid of this map for Pittsburgh Knights, as yes, Rise are the kings of control. They don't necessarily scare me on Reactor. They're not as quick on these rotations, and they're not as good at controlling the lanes as they are in other situations. Beautiful shot grenade by Detox right there. Now he's got the shots over the cover, and he has the help from the 6 o'clock angle. That's a good couple of kills for them. Now Rush is going to try to rotate up into this front level. Double shot down onto Summons. I mean, he made that look absolutely easy.
He really did. I mean, he's been playing so incredibly well. Gotta say, Dezo is pulling up for his team, whether it be with the Torque Bow or just in general in the up-close and personal fights. He is putting on an absolute clinic, and you have certain players that step up to the occasion. Dezo is doing that for Pittsburgh Knights, and you got to give him credit, because if Pittsburgh Knights does force a game number 5, hey, you got to give credit to Dezo, you really do. Still, a very close game so far, and Avexis hasn't connected on the Torque Bow just yet. He is firing the shots, though, with reckless abandon. Monkeys has been marked, but going to get a hit marker, not going to be enough. But either way, uncontested, unchallenged. The final points will go over towards Rise as Pittsburgh Knights prioritizing the rotation. Detox trying to meet them head on.
Now we see all set up at the top of this ramp now. 4 members from the Pittsburgh Knights. They're waiting for their 3 out of the 4 members. 4th one's going to rotate across from the 90-degree. Double kill out with an AIDS. The second one might fall a little bit short and doesn't get that shot, but a big body shot. Now Avexy's looking for a kill there with a torque, though. They're looking to set up over this hill, continue to garner up a point lead, up by 40 at this point. Every second is crucial for them because they have struggled in the early goings in the first couple of hills when they allowed Pittsburgh to set up and play more of a team fight game. 60 seconds left on this hill. 2 players rotating back. It's going to be a full 4-man push here to the bottom side of this hill, trying to push multiple members from Rise out. And I like this angle from Detox. He's able to set up directly under the fire, but he can kind of keep it neutralized down there, but not for long as both he and Avexys get cleaned up. Rushies tries to come in. Now Icy's going to try his hand. One more shot and a down and a kill. Beautiful retake out of the Pittsburgh Knights.
You know, I want to really highlight Pittsburgh Knights in that moment with Rise going for the retake 4 strong. It just comes to show you how difficult it is to go up those 2 choke points to stairs. Dezo was giving consistent pellets out with his Nasher. You also have a couple of moments where, oh my lord, Monkeys just absolutely annihilates Avexys and Detox with the nade. Rushies in the corner, but Pittsburgh Knights did a phenomenal job holding that angle, and some of these hills are very difficult to retake. Pittsburgh Knights just gave it a great example as to why that is. So rotating early on, setting up defensively could be great and beneficial. You mentioned Rushies playing those corners, but Raver takes the page out of the playbook there and is able to hide in the shadows. You mentioned a dark map, right, in the angles being pretty harsh at certain moments. Obviously, you got to watch and keep your head on a swivel or else you're going to get checked like Raver just did in that moment. Icy does have 3 more shots with the torque, just trying to cut off the angles from Pittsburgh Knights as they're trying to rotate through.
Shot at the top of that cover. Now he has to worry about the player between him, Monkeys. And look at this quick turnaround in the up A from Icy. Gets that kill. And I like the fact that Icy has kind of gotten a little bit loose now. He knows the shots out. He knows what he can do online. It's like he's almost expanded his arsenal, even late in his career, the way that he is after being dominant for so long. And now kind of looked at as the elder statesman on his team because of how long he's been a pro. He's still expanding his arsenal, still getting extra shots and extra abilities to use against his opponents, and that's just a scary sight.
Starting to get away from Pittsburgh Knights. Rise taking a tremendous lead, about 50 or so points, but we know that lead starts to gather and become more severe the closer you get to victory. And Icy is just putting on an absolute clinic. That damage done, 12,000, is absolutely incredible. Not to mention he's only died 4 times, so he is absolutely getting the most out of every single life he has. Even in this moment, ring around the rosy we go. Pittsburgh Knights absolutely surrounding Icy, yet he's still alive, Colin.
Icy pushes up another kill for him. He's going to get down. That's a down. He gets shot over the trying to hop the cover. He's going to go down. He doesn't get chunked there on the hop. So he hops and drops, but now that'll be the 5th death. There's the torque bow picked up by Avexys. Nades on the opposite side of the map picked up by Raver. 15 seconds left on this hill. Up over the 200-point marker for Rise. Detox trying to help out with Avexys, trying to play a little bodyguard here. They get the call out in the middle of the map. There's the quick pick on Adezo. That'll be a kill that they need. I'm surprised. Good kill there. They're going to get the revive here on Detox. And the next pick will come through. That next hill is on that mid lane yet again. They need to probably rotate that torque bow into the middle, which they do. Avexys is going to be able to stand up in that middle lane with the torque and shoot onto anybody that comes into that next hill.
He hasn't been too terribly accurate, but his presence alone is going to make PK pretty uncomfortable. First one's going to be connected, though, onto Monkeys. And talk about the accuracy. Immediately connects onto one, pushes Summons out of position. He is going to have help from Detox on the other side. Big 1v for him to win, and he handles his business like a champ. Well done. And Rise, 220 and counting. Pittsburgh Knights have to answer and respond back. This is their chance to stay alive in the series. They lose this map, it's over with. Rise will take the victory in the series, best of 5, 3-1. So it's up to Pittsburgh Knights to respond, but Rise is smooth sailing from this point forward. Avexy is getting challenged once again through mid. Finally is going to be dropped. He's in no man's land. He'll be finished off. Torquebow's going to be out of the way, but he backpacks it. And the battle now starting to close in as Pittsburgh Knights getting closer and closer to getting the break, but still so far away as Rise handles Pittsburgh Knights at every angle they take. And they're going to be around the 260 mark.
They're going to be up at about 260, almost 270. If they stay here the rest of the time, they're going to be within 20 to 30 points to be able to get this hill and these kills in their favor. Also, Raver is using that the brand new weapon set that came out today, by the way, on his Lancer. It's got a Black Panther silhouette in the back of the Lancer. That came out with the Operation 8 drop, or Operation 8 bundle, excuse me, that you can get in the store right now. You know I had to pick that up. You know, it was almost
Oh, of
instantaneous.
course. You being Colin, without question, the biggest Gears fan in the world, man. You're going to buy. And I asked you, do you own every skin? And I think you said all skins but 2?
All skins but 2. I'm missing one that I really want, but there's no way for me to get it at this point. I didn't buy the Kate statue, so I can't get the Glacier Kate skin, but I have the Ice one from the special edition Xbox One X.
Hey, man. I would love to just play on your account one day and just cycle. You know what I'm saying? And just cycle through and see what's
No
gonna
account
happen.
recovering. That's not a PSA.
I don't open up that can of worms, okay?
We're
about
not.
the account
No.
recovery, but
Nope, we're not talking about it. We're not talking about it.
How about this? I'll come over. We'll make a day of it. Rise, by the way, smooth sailing to victory. Is this going to be it? 300 to 148? Well, not just yet. Pittsburgh Knights get there, but 299.
Okay, I see.
One more point. 300 to 148. That's going to be a 3-1 victory. Well done from Rise. They will beat Pittsburgh Knights 3-1 and take the victory.
Icy could not have not been the MVP. I don't know how to say that any nicer. Like 16k damage for Icy, 19 with only 5 deaths and 8 assists. That man was any and everywhere. And they held a lot of the players from the Pittsburgh Knights, just down. There was no real place for them to run, hide, or go that entire map after about the halfway point. Pittsburgh in both controls, so good off the rip. They were out to and off to the races. Somewhere down the line, Rise almost either saw the hitch in their giddy up or they figured out where the chink in the armor is because they just exposed them. They sundered them to death.
Well, to be fair, we did see a good start on Reactor for Pittsburgh Knights, but on Regency, it was not a good start at all. Remember, Rise took about 100 and something point lead. Like, it was pretty dramatic before Pittsburgh Knights started to answer back. In this case, though, Pittsburgh Knights had a good start because of Dezo, right? Him connecting those torque shots, also clutching up in several moments. He was playing incredible, and I was even highlighting him, saying, at a certain point, there's one player on a roster will say, hey, I'm putting the team on my back. I'm going to make it happen for us. And I thought that was going to be Dezo. Unfortunately, it's not a solo game, is it, Colin? You need everybody to be playing well. Dezo, he can do a lot, but he can't do all of it. He needs help from his other members. But either way, for Pittsburgh Knights, they suffer another loss. Yes, it's to Rise, but they lose in a pretty convincing fashion. Outside of the checkout execution, where did they really perform?
Again, they got to figure out how to play a little bit of that mid-game control a little bit better. It's not easy to beat Rise as is on control, but the way, look at that, 128 and 148. It's a 20-point differential for Pittsburgh, and most of those 128 points and most of those 148 points came within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the map. Outside of that, Rise is off to the races. They are just never looking back. They're not making any kind of slow up play. They are never going to give you an inch in the fight to come back into that round.